podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Saturday, January 25th, 2020. This is episode 1663. Enjoy. The Tech Guy Show comes to you from the Twit LastPass studios. You're focused on security, but are your employees? LastPass can ensure they are by making access and authentication seamless. Visit lastpass.com/twit to learn more. Why, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here. It's Tech Guy time. Your worst nightmare, a nerd with his own radio show. 8888. Ask Leo, the phone number. Hi, how are you? We talk on this show about computers. Try to do it in English. I do. I really do. Sometimes I fail. I do. I admit it. But we try. 8888. Ask Leo. If I fail, I'll translate later. That's the phone number. 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. And here's some nerd talk. If you're outside those countries, you could still reach us using a VoIP service that will dial POTS lines. You can use Skype out to call us. Should still be toll-free. 8888 Ask Leo. The website, that's where we put everything that I talk about, so you don't have to write it down while you're driving around, because that sounds just like danger. Danger is techguylabs.com, and there's no sign up there. It's not just a come on to get you to pay me money. No, sirree. techguylabs.com. Everything's there. Free, no sign up, nothing. Just wide open. Like the web used to be. You know, you just wander into a site, you'd read some stuff, you'd leave. Remember that? Remember those days? I do. Interesting back and forth over Jeff Bezos' iPhone 10. Have you been kind of following along with this one? It started, I guess it was last year, maybe the year before. Jeff Bezos, who was married at the time, National Enquirer said, hey, we've got texts, we've got pictures. They actually kind of sort of blackmailed him. Said, if you start saying nice stuff about President Trump in the Washington Post, your newspaper, we won't release them to the public. That got Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon, and the world's richest man. You don't mess with the world's richest man. Got him mad, so he wrote a blog post and said, I'm not going to do it. Look what they asked me to do, blah, blah, blah. And then he hired a guy, a security guru named Gavin DeBecker. Was the best name in security gurudom. And Gavin DeBecker analyzed the whole thing, and then he said, well, we think that these texts leaked out because Jeff Bezos' girlfriend, Lauren Sanchez, that's who the texts were written to, so they were on her phone. We think her brother, what is such a soap opera, her estranged brother got a hold of the phone and sold him to the National Enquirer. That's what the National Enquirer says, too. But then, this week, the results of a study, a forensics study from the firm called FTI Consulting, came up with a surprising twist to this story. They said that Jeff Bezos, this gets complicated now, the richest man in the world, remember him, was also messaging with the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, MBS they call him. They were going back and forth in WhatsApp, which is, of course, as you know, widely used, especially around the world as a messaging platform. But WhatsApp has had security issues in the past, and FTI said, we have medium to high confidence. By the way, that may come back to bite them. Medium to high confidence that MBS sent Jeff Bezos a WhatsApp message containing a suspicious video file. The reason I bring this up, not because I care about the soap opera, but because this is an important thing for us all to listen to. A suspicious video file. Bezos, when he tried to open it, launched a hack on his phone, and immediately after that message came through, a bunch of data was exfiltrated, was extracted from the phone, and presumably sent back to Saudi Arabia. And it was shortly after that that the texts and the pictures from his phone, the compromising, blackmailable data appeared. You know, the people said, we found, and the whole thing came out. Now, a security expert, Alex Stamos, who used to be at Chief Information Security Officer, or CISO, they call him, at Facebook, which owns WhatsApp, by the way, came out and said, it's not very strong. Lots of circumstantial evidence, but no smoking gun. Why, you might ask, would MBS care about Jeff Bezos? Well, we sell a lot of material to Saudi Arabia. We have a very close relationship with them. They're, of course, complicated. I don't know exactly. They're a complicated place. Accused, for instance, of killing Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi. By the way, Washington Post, again, owned by Jeff Bezos. And MBS has a very good relationship with President Trump, and so does the National Enquirer. And so there's a complicated, if you were to draw a map of this, it would have a lot of lines crisscrossing. But the security community is saying, well, we don't, they should know more. There seems something off on this. So I guess really the takeaway is soap opera continues. And most importantly, it's very possible for people to put malware even on a smartphone, even on an iPhone, because this is an iPhone 10, through WhatsApp. And so be very careful. I say this again about clicking links in messages, opening attachments in messages, and messages could be email, but it also could be any messaging program, because you see what could happen. The richest man in the world could have to split his fortune with his ex-wife. By the way, he's still the richest man in the world. So he had plenty to spare. It's an interesting story, kind of gossipy story, but also a lesson to us all. Careful what you do, and probably a good idea not to have WhatsApp chats with the leaders, despotic leaders of complicated countries. Banning face recognition. So it's all the rage these days. Because, people don't, the face recognition, besides the privacy invasion, people are concerned that it isn't very good. It particularly isn't very good if you're not white. So people of color tend to get more false positives, maybe accused of crimes they didn't commit because of face recognition. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Another great security guru, Bruce Schneier, writing in the New York Times in their Privacy Project, an opinion piece, says, we're banning facial recognition. We're missing the point. The whole point of modern surveillance is to, he says, treat people differently, but it's to identify people, right? And face recognition technology is only a small part of that. Although the City of London has announced, Metropolitan Police have announced, that they are, for some reason, it's like 6 hours a day, only 6 hours a day, going to use face recognition on the many, many, many cameras all over London to try to catch crooks. I see him, governor. Go down there and get him, said Leo in his fake Dick Van Dyke accent. San Francisco banned face recognition. Somerville and Brookline, Mass. Oakland, California has banned it. It kind of, by the way, unexpected consequence. City of San Francisco had to amend their regulation because it turns out many city workers couldn't use their iPhones anymore because guess what? The iPhone's unlocked with face recognition. Oops. So they fixed that. But he says, really, don't worry about face recognition. That's a small part of it. People can be, this is Bruce Schneier writing in the New York Times. People can be identified at a distance by their heartbeat. That's right. Hundreds of feet away. I can aim a camera and a laser at you and I can tell who you are, or by their gait, how you walk. Very distinctive. You know that when you see somebody. Sometimes you see a friend from a distance, you know it's them because of how they walk, right? Computers are really good at that. Cameras are so good, he says they can read fingerprints and iris patterns, your pupil pattern from meters away. And even without these technologies, we can always be identified because our smartphones broadcast unique numbers. They're called the MAC addresses. Actually, Apple's, as often as the case, smart about this. They randomize the MAC address broadcast by your smartphone so that people can't say, oh, I see Leo's just came in the house. Although, have you seen the Xfinity ads? The boyfriend who, trying to see his girl, the teenagers, and she's upstairs, and he ends up climbing a ladder like Romeo to get into her window, and her dad comes in the room and says, oh, you must be Joey's iPhone, because he got a notification that Joey's phone joined the Wi-Fi network. On the surface of that, it's funny, and haha, caught him, haha. And maybe if you're the dad, good news, right? But it's kind of creepy too, isn't it? I know who you are just from the signal your phone's putting out. And China is using a lot of these to support its surveillance state. And there's an entire industry, Schneier writes, of data brokers who make a living analyzing and augmenting data about who we are, using this data collected by all sorts of companies and then sold one to the other so that we can cross-reference and make a giant database. There's an entirely unregulated data broker industry in the U.S. He says that's why Google bought Fitbit. They got the data. Smart billboards display different advertisements based on who we are. In the future, we might be treated differently when we walk into a store. Well, that happens already. You ever walk into a fancy store in jeans and a sweatshirt? They don't treat you the same, do they? They're already judging you. Already. Today, Schneier writes, face recognition technologies are receiving the brunt of the tech backlash. Focusing on them misses the point. We need to have a serious conversation about all the technologies of identification, correlation, and discrimination, and decide how much we as a society want to be spied on by governments and corporations, and what sorts of influence we want them to have in our lives. Well said. 8888 Ask Leo. We're going to take your calls in a bit. Scott Wilkinson, our home theater guy, coming up too. I got my ATEM. I got my ATEM. I got my ATEM mini ATEM. Let me show you this. This is so I can do Twit out of my bedroom. Who needs a giant studio? Who needs it? Not me. I've got an ATEM mini. So, see how small it is? Look at that. Oh, yeah, I would still need Skyposaurus. Multi-cam live production.
A talk show. Just one talk show.
Yeah, it would just be for me.
Yeah, one talk show is all you would need.
Yeah.
And
that's expensive, though.
You can do it without having physical monitoring.
What if I just did a vlog or something, right?
You still need cameras to switch to something.
I just need, you got that E200 or whatever it was? You got that?
Yeah, M200.
M200? That has HDMI out, right?
It does. We had to buy a power supply. It's great. So
it doesn't come with a power supply?
It uses a fake battery.
Yeah.
And there's a little hole in the battery compartment to plug it in.
Yeah.
It's like $35 for the fake battery and $50 for the.
Oh, you have to actually put the fake battery in. That's funny.
Burke found an off-market thing for $13. Both things.
Oh, good. Yeah, I usually just, a better camera, you just take the battery out and it still works. But I guess
there's no jack to plug it.
There's no jack. Oh, I get it. I get it.
Well, I've had some old Nikon point and shoots that work the same way.
Yeah. I remember that. I remember those days.
The original time lapses from the brick houses.
Done that way? Yeah. I guess I'll save these because I plan to broadcast internationally.
Sure, yeah. Save those. Good luck.
Good luck saving those. They'll go in that box, the power supply box. Well, this is it. That's not too big, is it? So I can go. Ready one, take one. Ready two, take two. Cut, auto, FTB. Yeah, this got picture in picture. Here's the key.
I bet you can use that too.
Wipes.
Wow, that's
duration of the wipe, half second, 1.5, 2.
It's got two mic inputs.
Yeah, it's got two, but they're mini. But I don't know if
webcam out.
Webcam out.
So plug that into a computer.
Oh, maybe
it appears as a video source.
Oh yeah. And then HDMI out.
For your
And then for,
everything.
yeah, nice. I like this. This is semi-professional. Screw down power supply so you don't accidentally pull it out. FTB, what's that stand for?
Fade to black.
Fade to black. Auto, cut. So this is the transition. This is cut. Still in black.
So take. On our,
Oh, yeah.
On the TriCaster, it's take.
Take. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the unbreakable Kimmy Schaffer. Who doesn't take no Schaffer? Hello, Kimmy.
Good morning.
Our phone angel.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic.
Yep.
Yep.
Pro Bowl weekend. I don't know why they do that. They give us a 2-week break. And then we get to watch our 49ers
Let our players rest.
demolish the Kansas City Chiefs.
Let's hope so.
No. You can't say hope. Are you you know how athletes are so superstitious.
Superstitious. I was like, suspicious of what?
I shortened it. I took out the ooper. They're so superstitious, aren't they? Are you that way? Lisa's that way.
I try not
Do you
to
have
be.
lucky socks or,
Yeah. We'll call it socks.
Oh, I don't want to know.
Let's just say everything's red.
It's your lucky red and gold.
Yeah. There you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
now that I've got you completely distracted.
I am thinking
and you're
about
that color red too.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, do you have a caller I can take now?
How about Patty in LA, and she's going on an African safari.
Oh,
and
how
needs
exciting.
help with some of her photo taking and
Okay.
such.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you, Kim. Hello, Patty. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Good morning, Leo. How are you?
I'm well. Congratulations. How exciting.
Thank you so much. First of all, I want to thank you very much for educating all of us as well as you do every single weekend. We all enjoyed listening to you, and we're lucky to have you both Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, you're too kind. Thank you.
Thank you. I am, in fact, going on a Nile cruise and an African safari.
Oh, so you're going to Egypt and Egypt's in Africa, but you're going to Egypt and then going to go see animals somewhere else.
Yes,
How
absolutely.
exciting.
And because it's a photo safari, I want to be able to upload my photos every night, look at them, and see what I'm doing wrong for the next day. So what is the best medium to be able to do that? Is it another laptop? I have a 17-inch laptop, but it's big.
That's
and bulky.
too big. You don't want to bring 17. You can do it with an iPad, too. The issue is going to be bandwidth more than anything else. So what kind of camera are you bringing?
I have a bridge camera. It's a Panasonic P900 with an 83x zoom.
Very nice. Yeah, you're going to really want that zoom.
Yeah.
Because you don't get up next to the lions. That would be foolhardy.
Well, it's the old joke. I don't have to outrun the lions. I only have to outrun the person slower than me.
Yeah, exactly. So that camera, Panasonic offers, actually most manufacturers do, but I know Panasonic offers software you can put on an iPad or a phone that will, without hooking up a cable, just copy it all over. It really depends on how light you want to go. An iPad would, I've toyed with this. I'll tell you my workflow, and you can, this is like, if you don't mind carrying a lot of expensive gear. I do bring a laptop with me. A laptop usually with Lightroom on it, but there's other photo editing software you might prefer. Just, let's put it that way, a laptop with some photo editing software on it. I then bring also a bunch of memory cards. Those are the originals, right? So I change the memory cards, not when they get full, but I spread them out. So if I have 10 cards, I change them enough so I'll go through all 10 cards during the trip.
Mm-hmm.
That's so you don't put too many eggs in one basket.
Correct.
And you don't erase the cards because they're the originals. You take the card, you have a card reader, you put it on your laptop. Now you've got a backup. Very good. And I also, at that point, it will connect to, if I've got bandwidth, a cloud service for further backup. And then that way we've got a cloud backup, we've got a local backup, and we've got the originals. And you don't erase anything until you get home. Then it's an important thing, I think, every night to go through everything and pick the pictures you think are good, throw out the ones that are obviously out of focus or just, pointed at the ground. Anything that's no good, just delete. Why save those? Remember, you're keeping the originals on the memory cards anyway.
Mm-hmm.
but you keep your keepers on the laptop. And then if you want to critique them, you could upload them to a photo sharing site like Flickr if you want other people to critique them. I don't usually do that because I want to make sure I only upload my best stuff. I'm embarrassed by most of my pictures, so I only want to upload the ones that look good. But it is important to do that every night. And now, as far as backup services, you have lots of choices. If you're a Flickr Pro user, you can back up there. Amazon, if you're an Amazon Prime member, has unlimited backup. Google Photos has unlimited JPEG backup, so it's not the originals, but it's still pretty good. You could choose any of those.
Well, specifically, I'm not concerned about doing any editing of the photos.
You're going to do that for later.
Yeah, I just want to be able to look at them and say, your lighting could have been better. You should have used a different f-stop.
Well, that's where an iPad would be just fine, or a laptop would be just fine. Anything with a good enough screen that you can look at it. If you really want to go light, an iPad's actually a great choice. I kind of go back and forth. I really feel like I could just bring my iPad to do that. And if the problem with me is I do want to do some editing.
All right, and if I chose a laptop, what would you recommend?
What kind of? You have a Windows laptop? You like Windows?
Yes.
It doesn't really matter. One operating system is pretty much the same as any other. Any inexpensive. Don't bring a really expensive one, and bring a lightweight one. Is battery life important or no?
No.
No, because you're gonna be able to plug it in at night.
Yes.
So those are the two things that are unknown when you travel: bandwidth and power. Power usually you're going to get, but bandwidth is always an unknown. And I like to upload them every night just so I have. That's why I also put them on my phone, because at least my phone will upload to iCloud or Google Photos. Will upload to some offline backup. That way, if the worst happened, I lost all my gear, I'd at least have all my pictures on Google Photos. As far as looking at them, you want a decent screen, and actually that tends to push you towards a little bit more expensive laptops. And you want it pretty lightweight?
Preferably.
So HP makes them very lightweight. The X360 series, the Spectre series, very lightweight, good battery life. Mm-hmm. Dell XPS has excellent screens, also very lightweight. Any Ultrabook would be good. The Acer Swift laptops are inexpensive and very thin and light. Acer makes a good choice for something like this because they're not too expensive. You probably get it for around $500 or $600. Mm-hmm. And you want enough storage, you could just put everything on it, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So, but honestly, even a terabyte hard drive, even 512 would probably be enough. Even if you take thousands of pictures, it's not going to occupy more than, say, 100 or 200 gigabytes.
Okay.
Have fun.
Fabulous.
We're in Africa. Besides Egypt, where else are you going?
Jordan, Amman, and then the safari is out of Johannesburg.
Wow, you're going to have so much. How months? Is that a month-long trip?
Just about, yep.
That's going to be so much fun. I'm
jealous. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, have a wonderful time, Patty.
Thank you so much, Leo.
My pleasure. Take care. Hey, Scotty.
Leo, how you doing, man?
I'm well. Let me take this box out of your face. You don't need no stinking boxes.
That ATEM Mini looks pretty
Look at that.
Wow.
4-camera switcher.
A 4-camera switcher and a thing you can hold in your hand.
Yeah. Honestly, I have a huge studio. I don't really need this, but...
Oh, but you got to check it out.
Well, more than check it out. I really love the idea of being able to do, this if you're a Twitch streamer would be great. It's pretty impressive. Microphone, 2 mics.
Only 2 mics, but 4 cameras. How does that work?
Well, that's a good question.
I would think that you'd want 4 mic inputs.
Well,
you can get audio over HDMI, assuming the camera has its own microphone, but...
I don't know. Let me see what it says.
You need a wide, you need an establishing shot.
Yeah, typically you'd want a wide shot, a close-up. You might want one of the switchers might go to a screen, so I think 2 is not unreasonable. Remember, this is a under $400 1 pound
Oh, that's
switcher.
true. Yeah, that's true. If you wanna switch between a live shot and a screen or something, you wouldn't need a mic.
You'd use all four. You'd probably use all four of these with just a 2-person shoot. That's really cool. Really cool. It says, don't include an SD card. Just download the software yourself. Scott Wilkinson, home theater geek. Hello, Scotty. He's a techhive.com. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Hey, you and everybody up there is really looking forward to the Super Bowl, I know.
Yeah, because we have as they say, a dog in this hunt.
You have a dog in this hunt. You have skin in the game.
Skin in the game. I am not a betting man, but we do love our 49ers.
Yes, indeed.
And it's been a rough patch, so we're kind of glad to be back in the Super Bowl.
And this Super Bowl is historic.
Really?
Because this is the first year they're going to be broadcasting in 4K HDR.
Oh, yeah. But where can I see that?
That's the question. I first learned about this on Digital Trends, which is a great website. And they said that you could see it on Dish Network and DirecTV and a couple of different...
So I had, during the Olympics 4 years ago, Comcast, it was probably not 4K then, it was probably 1080p, but Comcast was offering it in a high resolution, and you had to do it over the internet.
Well, you can do that too. If you, according to Digital Trends, you can get it DirecTV, Dish Network, Comcast Xfinity, and Altice Optimum.
If you have one of their smart boxes.
If you have one of their smart boxes.
Yeah.
Or you can stream it.
Okay.
You can stream it. According to Digital Trends, it is the Fox Now app or Fubo TV.
Oh, okay.
If you have Fubo TV.
Yeah, because it's on Fox. So if you have Fox Now.
Correct.
Well, I'm going to have to play with this right now because obviously it's a week from Sunday and I want to have it all set up.
Right.
My wife keeps saying, how come the best TV in the house is in your office? The 4K, my 4K LG OLED
yeah, you're
is
going to
in
want
my
to watch
office.
it on something like that.
Well,
yeah.
I told her because I can darken that room. The living room, I can't get it fully dark. I have a nice surround sound system, and it's carefully positioned. It can't really do that in the living room. So we have the projection TV, for a big screen in the living room.
Which, for a football game,
It's
and if
gonna
you're
be
having
fine.
people over, that's going to be good.
Yeah.
But you're not going to see as much of the HDR. I'm really looking forward to this. I have Dish, and I looked on my Dish guide, and it goes to Sunday 3:30 or 4 at this point, and I didn't see anything on it. According to the Fox website, it says you can stream. It doesn't say anything about broadcast.
So
like on
stream
satellite.
it on the Fox Sports app.
Stream it on Roku or Amazon Fire TV 4K. You can also get it on Apple TV 4K, but only in standard dynamic range, not high dynamic range.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know
Because
why
Apple
that
TV
is.
supports HDR.
Of course they do. Sure they do.
So you need
That's
a
right.
Roku Ultra. That's their 4K.
Yeah, Roku Premier or Premier Plus or Streaming Stick Plus or Ultra.
Okay.
Yep.
Or a Fire
Amazon.
TV 4K.
Yep.
Some smart TVs have that capability built in.
That's correct. That's
Oh,
correct.
and my Xbox will do it too.
Well, there you go.
So that
Now,
would
the
be the way
interesting-
to watch it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it really would.
I know what I'll do. We'll have the game on and all the food out in the living room.
Sure.
And then if I really like somebody, I'll say, I'd like to extend a personal information.
Personal
invitation
Come into
to
my
our
special room.
the champagne room.
The VIP
The
suite.
VIP suite. Because only 2 people at a time can go in there.
Right.
Now, here's the problem. It's not really 4K.
No. This is the amazing part. They're shooting it in 1080p.
No!
And they're up-converting it to 4K before they send it out.
Don't! Well, I can up-convert it.
Well, but they've got,
They
they've
got better.
much better up-converters than any of us do.
So will it look better than 1080p?
Presumably so. I mean, they're, up conversion has gotten so good, otherwise known as upscaling, has gotten so good that, I think it's going to look definitely better.
How about HDR? Can they do 1080p HDR, or is that going to be simulated as well? Oh, they can.
No.
Okay.
They're going to shoot it, apparently, according to Digital Trends, they're going to shoot it in a format, HDR format called HLG, Hybrid Log Gamma, which is really designed, it was designed by BBC and the Japanese company NHK to be used in broadcast live applications such as this.
Why, though? It's a little frustrating that they call it 4K. Do you think people will watch it and say, oh, well, this isn't that much better than 1080p?
Well, we'll have to wait and see, but I still believe it will be significantly better.
Okay.
And the most important part of this isn't the resolution, it's the dynamic range.
Honestly, that's better, is the HDR. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Yeah.
And so,
although, again, sports HDR is best when there is dramatic differences in lighting.
Sure.
Sports is all pretty well lit. It's pretty flat. I mean, it's not like there's shadows on the field. They don't want shadows on the field.
Well, that's true. That's true. It'll be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to seeing how the halftime show looks in HDR.
But it'll be outside, right? It's not. It's just going to be sunlight.
Well, true, but isn't it evening? Isn't it?
Okay, but they have big Klieg lights, all around the stadium.
They do. Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. It'll look like Billy Lynn's long halftime walk.
And they're doing it at 60 frames a second.
Oh, that's interesting. But can I see that?
Yeah, sure.
So if I'm watching the stream, it should be 60p.
That's correct.
That might even be more important than, especially for sports, than the 4K.
Yes, I would agree. I would agree that high frame rate and high dynamic range are more important than 4K in this case. High frame rate, of course, lets you see the football in motion very clearly and cleanly, not all blurry, and the people running and so on. So it's going to be really cool. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to watch it one way or another, even though I really don't care for football whatsoever. And I'm going to record it.
That's all right. I don't care for Marvel whatsoever, but I still want. There you go. Right? See? It's the same thing, It's
the same thing. It's a personal preference kind of a thing.
But you might be interested in the technology. Your colleague Mike Heiss in the chat room says he's going to compare Fox's 4K stream, and then he's going to play the full HD stream, the 1080p stream on his new NVIDIA Shield with its own so-called AI-based upscaling and see which is better. That's an interesting experiment.
Well, that's going to be a very interesting experiment. I might have to pop over there and check it out. Now, Scooter X in the chat room says it will be HDR10, and that's what the Fox website does say. It will be HDR10.
Oh, that's why the Apple might not do it. Maybe because the Apple doesn't Dolby.
Well, I don't know. I'm sure the Apple
HDR10 is the lowest common denominator.
It's the lowest common denominator. That's right. And most TVs will do HLG or HDR10. I suspect Fox is probably going to convert it from HLG to HDR10. So this is all experimental and really cool, and I'm really looking forward to checking it out and seeing how it goes.
Should somebody, because this is the big week for buying new TVs, just for the Super Bowl, should somebody consider this and buy a UHD
absolutely.
HDR set? Yes.
Absolutely.
Right?
There are plenty of deals that are being done this week on high-quality TVs. You just look up Super Bowl TV deals. Google that, and you'll see a bunch. And I recommend the TCL 6 series, the LG OLEDs, any LG OLED,
excellent.
Sony X900. They'll all be really good.
Get them all. Scott Wilkinson, TechHive.com, our home theater geek. He hates football, but he's going to be watching the Super Bowl. The ads should look gorgeous.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
Gorgeous. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More of your calls right after this. So, James, if you'd put all of these links the chat room's coming up with, there are quite a few useful links on how to stream it in 4K, and Talk Android has a big article. There's a lot of places that you could read up on this. So I'm going to figure this out. I have the new NVIDIA Shield on my 4K. I have an Apple TV. That's no good. I think I have a Roku Ultra in there. I'm pretty sure I do. So, and I have an Xbox. So really, I have a number of ways to do this.
Yep.
But I have to have the Fox Sports app. And
Correct.
I presume I'll have to log into my usually you have to log into your cable provider to use that. So I should try that this weekend.
You should try that this weekend. You should get set up because.
And then I will have a champagne room.
Yes, very good. Very good. I like it.
I'll put a sign on the door that says 4K inside, invitation only.
Mike Heiss is saying HDR10, not HDR10 plus. That's true. Absolutely. Hard to do HDR10 on the fly. That's also true, which is why I think they're capturing an HLG and then converting.
Do you know what kind of cameras they're using?
I don't.
I'd love to know more about the technical.
I would too. Caleb Dennison at Digital Trends wrote that he's actually going to be there in Miami covering the tech.
Nice.
So I'm going to be keeping an eye out for that as well.
You ain't seen nothing if you ain't seen Shakira in 4K HDR, baby. Those hips don't lie.
That's right. Yeah, for me, I record the Super Bowl every year, and I spin through the game, and I watch the commercials on the halftime show. I don't care who wins or loses. It doesn't matter to me one bit.
I care this year. You're right. Often it doesn't matter. I'm going to be very sad
the 49ers, okay, they're from California. So maybe.
Chris, so about 4 games ago, I said to Lisa, let's get tickets. She said, oh, they're not going to go. I said, let's get tickets. She said, I want to go if they're going to lose again, because we went to New Orleans last time they were in the Super Bowl. I don't want to go if they're going to lose again. Now she's saying, yeah, we lost by this much to the Ravens. Now she's saying, maybe we should go to Miami. I said, well, it's too late now.
Yeah, I would say.
How much that would cost? Get tickets.
Man, the flight and the tickets and the hotel, if you could even get them, they're probably totally sold out.
No, you can get it because you can buy these packages. They're packagers.
Oh, yeah.
Where they have great seats and hotels and everything, but it'd be $50,000 or something. Oh, and I still have to do Tech Guys. So,
well,
I guess I'll watch it on TV. All right, you gonna stick around for the top of the hour?
Sure, happy to.
We got another minute if you want to take some time here. It's up to you.
Okay, no problemo. Scooter X says at 60 frames per second, 4K suffers from pixel offset. The more frames you get, the more times the refresh happens, so that you're panning left to right. The pixels will not blur quite as much. At 60 frames a second with 4K, you get more motion blur in action scenes. I don't quite understand that, Scooter X.
If Scooter X says it, it's true. I'm just going to say that much.
Okay.
He's our guru.
Well,
he's probably reading off a website somewhere.
Yeah. Sometimes UHD is used interchangeably with 4K, which is actually not correct.
It's from sporttechie.com.
Uh-huh.
There you go.
All right. Well, anyway, it's going to be
disappointing. I knew it would be disappointing. I'm already disappointed.
At what?
It's 1080p upscaled.
Oh, yeah. Well, again, upscaling has gotten so good that I'm convinced it's going to be better than if. Oh, now, Mike.
I gotta go. Stick around, okay?
Yeah.
We'll talk some more. Get down. Get down. Get down. I'm getting down. Your tech guy, Leo Laporte. Yeah. We want the funk. We got the funk. Thank you, Lady Laura, for making my day. Let's go to line 3. And Drew in Costa Mesa. Hey, Drew. How you doing?
Hey, Leo. How you doing?
I'm great. Welcome
I'm at the DM. I'm waiting for my number to be called at the DMV.
If they call it, go, because I know it's hard to get in there. So.
Right. I got a Microsoft wireless Bluetooth keyboard and the mouse. It's the modern mouse and the modern keyboard I got.
Yeah.
And it I connected to Windows and everything, but sometimes it stops working. So it's working intermittently, but then when I go into settings, it shows it hooked up.
Yeah, don't you love Bluetooth? I had that problem with a Surface, Microsoft Surface Studio, and their own mouse and keyboard that came with it. It would periodically drop out. There's one of the reasons I just don't like wireless keyboards and mice, because I feel like the battery dies, and all of a sudden you can't type, and occasionally you'll get dropout. I'm not sure what to do about that. How do you get it back? You go back to the Bluetooth settings and repair, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just go back and remove it and re-add it.
That seems like a lot to have to do that.
It is.
Is there a pairing switch or a sync switch on the bottom of the mouse?
Well, that's another thing. Yeah, I did have them paired and then had them connected and paired.
Yeah.
But I was still having the same problem.
Yeah. I don't know of an easy fix for that. It's kind of frustrating, isn't it? I have the same. All I can say is I've had the same problem with the Surface Studio and Microsoft's mouse and keyboard. They came with it. They would periodically drop out. It's why on the air for years I've insisted on wired keyboards and wired mouses. I think it's mouses. Somebody told me it's not mice. It's mice if you're talking about rodents. It's mouses if you're talking about computer mouses. It just doesn't feel right. I'm going to say mice. I'm sorry. I'm just going to do it. Because periodically you get these dropouts, or the worst thing is, especially if you're on the air and your keyboard battery dies, what are you going to do? You can't do anything. So anybody in the chat room has a suggestion. One of the reasons Apple made a special Bluetooth chip for its devices is because remember they made a big deal about the W1 chip, is because they said Bluetooth doesn't work that well, and that's been my experience as well. I'm not sure why. Somebody's saying maybe the mouse is timing out. I don't know. I just don't know. Except to say it's happened to me. It doesn't happen all the time. I'm not sure. And I'm sorry that you're at DMV on a Saturday morning. That does not seem like much fun. That's got to be somebody's definition of hell, right? Hell is DMV on a Saturday morning. Our show today brought to you. I don't have an answer for you. It's happening, and it's not completely unusual. If somebody has some suggestions for something you could do to make it better, let us know. 8888 Ask Leo. Todd, Portland, Oregon. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Todd.
How you doing, sir?
I am well. How are you?
Good. Hey, I'm calling for a second time. I called about 2 months ago, and I stumped you on that one, so hopefully I won't stump you this time.
Oh, I just got stumped before this. Oh, no. It's a double stumper.
Yeah.
What can I do for you?
For this, I've got a network running between two buildings on a wireless link, and this is what the last time I called you was involved with wireless link. This is just weird. That from building A, I can see everything on building B on the surveillance system. I can also view it from off-site, which means it's getting network all the way through and internet. But at building B, if I plug into the unmanaged switch that everything goes into, I get no internet whatsoever. And I can't figure it out.
So you're getting wireless to one building but not the other?
Well, I'm getting wireless. I can see everything down at the second building. Even like I said, off-site, I can view it. But at building B, I cannot. I can ping the router, the Comcast router, but I can't ping anything off-site.
So you have. Okay, the topology is a little complicated, so I'm trying to understand it. Where the Comcast router is in the main building, or do you have two Comcast routers?
No, one Comcast.
And that's in the main building.
Building A.
Okay.
Building A.
So you can't get Wi-Fi. You can't get wireless out to building C.
Or no, I can get wireless to building B. We're supposed to.
Yeah, that's fine. But building C you can't, right?
There's no building C. There's just building B.
There's just two buildings. Okay.
There's two buildings.
All right.
Building B
isn't getting internet.
B,
but you can.
I can't get internet.
You can see cameras on it. You just can't get outbound.
Right.
Are you using? It sounds like a routing issue. You said you have an unmanaged switch. What is the receiver on building B? What is that? You don't have a separate receiver. You're just all getting your Wi-Fi from that building A.
No, building A. I have a access point. Building B, I have a client set up. And prior to a
what's the client? Tell me what the client is. It's an extender?
Well, yeah, I guess you could call it that. It's just a wireless link between one building and another.
Okay. And it is working outbound, but only not inbound? Is that what's going on?
No, it works inbound really well.
Only inbound. So you can see the cameras in Building B, but you can't get out to the internet, the public internet in Building B.
Correct.
Yeah.
It won't allow me to ping anything beyond the router.
So, yeah, you got to look at, I'm not sure what you're using as your hardware to get connectivity out there. If you had, let's say you have 2 points. You have a wireless Wi-Fi access point in point A, and point B has a bunch of computers all connecting to the main wireless access point. You should get two-way traffic. But you have a more complicated situation where you have a wireless access point and then something in Building B that is receiving but apparently not outbound. That's the thing to look at. I don't know what that is. You might want to look at a mesh system or some other system for the extender, because what's going on is that it's a one-way ticket. And if you think about it, when you're spreading Wi-Fi out, you need a two-way traffic. You don't want to just have sometimes people say, well, I'm going to put a really good antenna out in the farm building out there, and but you got to broadcast as well as receive, right? And it sounds like your broadcast, your return is not as good, or maybe I don't know, something's wrong there. I think it's that second switch you've got out there. I'm not sure what it is. Get something that's designed to do this, like a mesh system. As long as Building B can easily get a signal from Building A, if you have the right equipment, it should be two-way. But there's some sort of weird configuration issue going on here, which, of course, is impossible for me to diagnose because I'm in Building C about 150 miles away. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, you stumped me again. 8888, Ask Leo. More of your calls coming up right after this. Yeah. Ha 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 ha. Ha ha ha. Ha, it's your turn, Scott Wilkinson.
Well, thank you very much.
Have a good time.
So we've been speculating in the chat room about why Apple TV is not supporting HDR. Scooter X speculates that has something to do with the fact that Apple TV does not support VP9, the codec that YouTube uses. But I don't know that Fox is using VP9. I honestly don't know. I haven't read anything about that. If anybody in the chat room has, let me know. I would assume they would be using HEVC, which is the more common codec, in which case Apple TV should support HDR. I mean, they support HDR in plenty of other things, and I'm sure they do HDR10, not HDR10 Plus necessarily. I don't know that for sure, but I would doubt it. And I know they support Dolby Vision, but they should support HDR10. So I don't know why they're not. Thank you, Loquacious. I appreciate that. You're using my high school nickname, Wilkie, which was given to me by a classmate who is now a historian, who in those days was even a historian and was making reference to Wendell Wilkie. So there you go. Eric Duckman, yes, H.265, otherwise known as HEVC. And why they're not broadcasting in HLG, I'm not quite sure about that either. Why would they even need to convert? Most TVs, most HDR-capable TVs support HLG as well as HDR10. So I'm not quite sure why they're converting it. Beatmaster, yes, it would be HLG for broadcast. And as far as I know, that's what they're capturing in, or what they're originally encoding in. And apparently they're transcoding it to HDR10. I don't know why. Oh, okay. We were talking about Star Trek Picard here in the chat room, and I did watch the initial, the opening episode, premiere episode. I really liked it. I've been watching Discovery, too. I just signed up for CBS All Access because I really wanted to see Picard. I wanted to see that show, and I thought, well, while I'm here, I'll watch Discovery as well. And that show's okay. I'm not super thrilled with it, but it's okay. But Picard, I think, looks really good. I think the story is very good. I think Patrick Stewart's doing a great job. So I'm really, and they did not drop the whole season all at once. They're doing it like broadcast TV, which I find kind of interesting. You know, one episode at a time on Thursdays, rather than all at once, as I guess some TV shows do when they're on streaming platforms. So I'm waiting eagerly for next Thursday for the next episode of Picard. And as I said in the chat room, I love that that one of the Starfleet building, the Starfleet building that they went to is actually the Anaheim Convention Center, because I was just there last week for the NAMM show. So that was really cool. I went, hey, I've been there. I know that place. Actually, I've been there many times. I used to cover the NAMM show as a journalist. That was my job for many years. And so I'd go down there all the time, and they built it up quite a bit since when I was going there regularly. But there it was, Anaheim Convention Center, which is a very futuristic looking building, I will say, for sure. So it makes a perfect location. I'm not now. I can't remember whether it was Picard or maybe it was Discovery. No, I think it was Picard. They were also, I think, at Beckman Auditorium at Caltech, which is another really cool futuristic looking building. I believe they use that as a site as well. Web 2825. It's a conspiracy. Google trying to force Apple to adopt VP9. Well, I don't know about that. Tim Elliott says, I got a Fire Stick 4K and even the interface is in HDR. Yay, that's great. I don't actually have a Fire Stick 4K. I should probably get one. I do have a Roku Ultra, so I'll be watching the Super Bowl on that just to look at the HDR and 60 frames per second. Because again, I couldn't care less about football. Yeah, let's see. I did. And Scooter X, yes, after Picard, watch Will Wheaton's The Ready Room, which I did. And that was cool. They had on two of the shows. I don't know if they're directors or producers or, people involved in the making of the show. They had two people on there talking about the show. And that was really cool. And there's a bunch of Ready Room episodes for Discovery, and I'm sure there will be more for Picard as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing, the old characters, Will Riker and Deanna Troi and Seven of Nine. They're all going to be on the show. Data, is there. I'm a fool for Star Trek. What can I say? And I'm enjoying that, and I'm going to enjoy seeing all those new characters. Let's see here. Juan, baseball being very, very good to me. Yes, I remember that. Who did that? Garrett Morris on Saturday Night Live? I think that's who it was. Let's see. What else can we talk about here? My chat room keeps jumping around here. Anybody else see Picard? Did you like it? I know that the guy I was talking to about it here did. Where is that? Man, sometimes it's hard to find stuff in the chat room. Web 2825 says video unavailable. Was the Ready Room pulled for some reason? I don't know. Maverick 56 says, when I bought my OLED TV, the guy from Best Buy recommended to watch Netflix and other streaming services through the LG as opposed to Apple TV. He said the best picture quality was better through the LG app. I haven't heard that. That's kind of interesting. I wonder why. Why would that be? I'll have
You
to look into
believe
that.
anything a guy at the Best Buy says?
Yeah, really.
Just watch it through the TV, man. It looks so much better. You know why? You don't get any bit loss through the ether.
Through the HDMI cable.
Yeah. You got 100% of the bits. It's already in the TV.
Yeah, it's true. Take whatever a Best Buy salesperson says with a big grain of salt.
In general, Netflix looks better on Apple TV because they cache the content on their servers.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Better than Roku?
Mm-hmm.
Because of the caching.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, it shouldn't make any difference if all the bits arrive.
Yeah, sure.
But because it's cached, it's going to be, I think it's almost always better quality to watch Netflix on an Apple TV.
Yeah, that makes sense. I have an Apple TV 4K too. Maybe I'll get that up and running. I haven't really installed it yet. Knox Harrington, you need a $500 gold HDMI cable for real HDMI.
That's what he's really saying.
That's what he's really
if you're
saying.
going to use the Apple TV, I suggest you get the special cable. Thank you, Scott.
My pleasure. See you next week.
Take care.
Bye.
Oh, hey. How are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Oh, yeah. Happy New Year. Gong hei fat choi. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, superb owl. 8888, ask Leo the phone number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Have you been following the craziness? The craziness that's going all around with this Sonos thing. Sonos is making announcements, and then people are getting upset, and then Sonos is apologizing. Oh, man. I think in the long run, this is bad for Sonos. You've heard me talk about Sonos. You've even heard me recommend it. It's a wireless speaker system, pretty pricey. The Sonos Play 5s, I think, are $500, $500 for just a single speaker. If you want stereo, that's $1,000. They were the greatest thing since sliced bread 15 years ago when they first came out because they were wireless. You'd plug them into the wall, and then you would be able to listen to internet radio, your own collection, Spotify, Apple Music, all the different streaming music services, and of course, in the years intervening, more and more of those have emerged, and so it was very convenient. It was internet radio. They kind of got scooped a few years ago with Amazon came out with the Echo and Google with the Google Assistant. You know, they didn't do that kind of thing, and you could buy speakers, pretty good speakers, in some cases from Apple and Google that you could talk to. Sonos added that a little late to the party. Last year, they added the ability to talk to their speakers using Apple or they don't support Apple, just Google and Echo, Amazon. Now they're faced with a problem because they've upgraded the system considerably, and their older speakers are not compatible with their new system. People like me, who's foolishly now, as it turns out, spent thousands of dollars for whole house speaker systems. Because, in the old, it seemed reasonable to me at the time because the only way to do that previously was to wire it. You put speakers in the ceiling or in the walls all around your room. Remember that? Like if you were really a fancy person, you had whole house stereo. And Sonos made it possible to do that fairly inexpensively. Relatively, not fairly, relatively inexpensively. Turns out it might have been a foolish expense because now the technology that Sonos created to see, the trick was if you have wireless speakers in multiple rooms, it's hard for them to be in sync, so it sounds very echoey. Like the speakers in the living room are just a quarter of a second behind the speaker in the kitchen, which is a quarter of a second behind the speaker in the bedroom, and that sounds like you're in a spook house. Sonos magically, by creating their own network and their own protocol, handled that. It sounded like your whole house was a speaker. It was great for party mode, which I use maybe once a year because I don't have a lot of parties. And then Google started doing the same thing. Sonos, by the way, is suing them, saying you stole that. I don't know what the truth of that is. And now Sonos is trying to upgrade. And the big problem is that Sonos, they say it was a miscommunication. They said, well, if we're going to deprecate the old speakers, they're not going to work anymore. which is a little annoying if you bought, as I have, thousands. Now the CEO of Sonos has come out today, 42 minutes ago, with an apology. He said, actually, it should have done Thursday, so no, I just read it 42 minutes ago. They said, we're going to end support for older speakers, even speakers only 5 years old. They wouldn't get updates after May, kind of like Windows 7, right? No more updates after May. And then they even said, if you have newer speakers, as I do, attached to the older models, the newer speakers aren't going to get updates. But so many people complained that the CEO of Sonos, Patrick Spence, wrote on Thursday, "We heard you. We did not get this right from the start. My apologies for that. I want to personally assure you of the path forward." So they are going to keep bug fixes and security patches as long as possible for the older devices. And the older speakers will not prevent newer speakers from getting updates. We're working on a way to split your system so that modern products work together and get the latest features. So I got two predictions here. First of all, goodbye, Sonos. Would anybody in their right mind buy another Sonos product ever again? Not me. And I've spent thousands on Sonos. There's no compelling reason to. But there's an even more important moral here, which is these were very early Internet of Things devices. You know, IoT, you've heard that phrase. And this is not the last time there's going to be a problem like this with Internet of Things devices. I think we're buying speakers. We're buying durable goods. We're not. We're buying electronics. And just like your Android phone after 3 years, even though it's perfectly good, is going to stop getting updates, or your Chromebook after 8 years, even though it's perfectly good, is going to stop getting updates, or your Windows machine after 10 years, even though it's perfectly good, is going to stop getting updates. So those devices, those IoT devices, the doorbells, the speakers, the cameras, same thing. They're computers. Think of them more as computers than as speakers. We think of speakers. Well, my 20-year-old, 30-year-old, 40-year-old, my 50-year-old speakers should work exactly the same as my modern speakers, right? Of course they should. These aren't speakers, though. They're computer devices. And we're being schooled. I don't know if it's fair, but we're being schooled that companies cannot be expected to keep these devices working forever. Especially with computer devices. After some period of time, we're just going to stop fixing it and you're going to have to get a new one. Even though the hardware is fine, the speaker's still a speaker. It's not the speaker, it's the little computer in there and the firmware and all that stuff. We're not going to update that. So, lesson learned, right? Lesson learned. I would say lesson number one, don't separate the smartness from the device. Next time, I won't buy speakers with a computer in them. I'll buy speakers and a computer. When you buy a TV, don't buy a computer with a TV with a computer in it, a smart TV. I mean, you have to, but ignore that and still buy an external smart device like an Apple TV or Roku. Those will get upgraded, of course, but they're less expensive, and you expect them to get upgraded. That's the computer part. Separate the computer from the durable good. People who bought Samsung refrigerators with built-in screens and browsers some years ago were very shocked when Samsung said, we're not going to update that anymore. That browser was based, I think, on like IE8 or something, Internet Explorer. It's out of date. Won't work anymore. But my refrigerator is perfectly fine. Yeah, no, it's not the refrigerator. It's that computer in it. Although it's a bigger issue, isn't it, when the speaker won't even behave as a speaker once that computer stops working. So lesson learned, get it through my thick skull. I have Sonos everywhere. I'm looking at two right now, all over my house, all over our studio. Seemed like a good idea at the time. Nobody could do what they do. Now everybody can. And in hindsight, the mistake was to think this durable good, like a stereo speaker should have technology that would obsolete quickly it built into it. No, separate the two. Get powered speakers or regular speakers, and they get an external device to do your internet streaming and your whole house audio and all that. That just is a better way to go, because that's a less expensive middle device that you can replace and upgrade. Because times do change. You get new stuff. Things are improved. Good to remember. Little lesson learned, if there's the technology is nothing if not a learning experience, a teaching moment. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Give me a ring, 8888 Ask Leo. We'll talk next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. We go back to the phones. Oh, it's my friend Chris in Miami. Hello, Chris. Are you getting ready for the Super Bowl? Is it crazy in Miami already?
It's insane. And there's coffee all over the wall.
It is going to be a coffee-soaked Super Bowl this year.
And the good news is that you and Lisa and Kim are coming to Miami.
I wish.
Exciting. Oh,
I wish.
Okay. I need more coffee.
We talked about it, but it's, a little pricey. The fun thing, we went to this last time the Niners were in the Super Bowl in 2012, we went to New Orleans. And and Miami will be just as much fun, is the whole week before the Super Bowl, there's fan fest, there's events. It's people stand outside the hotels to cheer the buses as the players go to the practice fields. So it's exciting all week long. So you're going to have a good time.
Well, it would be better if you were here. I mean,
I would love to go. I wish I could.
Sure. I know.
Can I stay with you, Chris?
Absolutely.
Free coffee every morning.
My door is always open, and my partner works in one of the best restaurants in South Beach.
Oh.
And you wouldn't have to pay for any food at all.
What restaurant is that?
This is, he works right now. He works at the Blue Ribbon, which is part of the Plymouth Hotel.
Oh, the
Formerly,
Plymouth.
He used to work, yeah. Plymouth. And he used to formerly work at Sushi Siam, so you have a choice of restaurant.
That's a good partner. Does he cook when he gets home?
Really? Well, not really.
No, of course not.
I have all the.
I don't do radio shows when I get home either. You're exhausted. You don't. I barely talk.
I'm spoiled. I know. I really am.
My wife says if there's not an audience, I just shut up. Audience of one too small to be worth the effort. Chris, what can I do for you today?
All right. Well, I just, this network thing is kind of getting crazy for me. So I wrote everything down. You know me. I got all the homework, all the facts done to make it easy.
Good man.
I know we only. Okay, so here's the setup I have now. In my office, I have my iMac. I have the at&t Uverse router. I have my Apple time capsule. Everybody's either Wi-Fi or hooked up by Ethernet now.
Got it.
If I move away from this setup.
What about building B? Never mind. Don't.
Yeah, I heard that call earlier. There's no building B.
There is no building B. Okay, good. Okay.
Now, what I would like to do is move away from Uverse because their system has gone down twice recently.
Do you have Uverse Fiber or Uverse DSL?
I have DSL.
Yeah. So Uverse, at&t Uverse is great if you can get fiber, but they didn't wire that many homes to fiber. You have to be in that city.
Nope.
And so then it's just really, even though it's got the same name, it really is just plain old DSL service.
Yes.
Which is
Here's my thought.
DSL's okay. It's slow. It's limited. Go ahead. What's your thought?
I get 50 megabytes a second. I'm not really, I have better with a cup of coffee.
That's not
okay,
bad.
so here's my idea.
Yeah.
In the WebPass company installed a Ethernet port in the main bedroom.
So this
and not in the.
This is very common that apartment buildings will do a deal with an internet service provider. WebPass is one of the big ones. Usually when they do that deal, that is an exclusive. You can't use anybody else. So you're lucky you even have a choice.
Yes.
They put the thing in the bedroom. That's just where they stuck it, right?
Yeah, right. So
people I know who have WebPass love it. It's Google Fiber, basically.
Yes.
So it's gigabit. And fiber is always to be preferred if you can get it.
Yes. So here's my dilemma. If I put an Eero over there and an Eero over here and I connect Ethernet to both of them, it's the part in the middle that I have a problem with.
What's the? All right, I'm going to ask. I'm going to bite. What's the part in the middle? Is that building B?
No, there's no buildings here, Leo, just mine. And in mine, I have coffee.
So you mean that we're so? Let me see if I can summarize. The issue is you would like hardwired internet somewhere besides your bedroom, probably for your home entertainment system, right? Hardwire is always better for TV.
Yeah, but this is not about the TV. It's the fact that now I'm going to be running a Eero and 2 Eeros in either side of my house, from my office to my bedroom. And in the middle is going to be a Wi-Fi connection going from one Eero to the other.
That's how it's designed. You would have an Eero base station in your bedroom, and then you would have Eero beacons, the smaller devices, as many as you need to cover the space. It's about 1,500 square feet per, so probably, unless it's a massive apartment, 2 would be, one base unit and one beacon would be sufficient. The way mesh works that's different from a Wi-Fi extender is they have a separate channel just for them to talk amongst themselves. So when the data is being supplied to the beacon, the remote, it doesn't occupy any space that you would use with your laptops or anything else. It's got its own back channel. That's a good thing. It means generally they're faster. An extender usually is half the speed because half the time it's spent talking to the base station. Not the case with any mesh system. Now, there are some mesh systems. The Eero beacons, unfortunately, do not have Ethernet jacks. So if you wanted Ethernet in the remote location, you'd have to get one of the older Eero systems or a different system that had Ethernet jacks, if that's what you're concerned about. What is your concern? Is the point in the middle is it's Wi-Fi. If you get enough of these, it's going to be wired everywhere.
Okay, that's fine. The setup I have now is everybody is all connected via Ethernet, and everything is working hard.
Well, do you have Ethernet go in the walls, or are you running it under the carpet and things like that?
No, there's no carpet, area rugs, but no.
Thank you for the clarification. Of course, there's no carpet. What are you, a savage? Okay. So, but is it wired or is it? I mean, how are you? Never mind. I'm sorry I even asked.
No, never be sorry, Leo. It's always good when I'm on the phone with you because at least we keep the call moving.
You're a hoot. So the real issue is, the whole idea here is that you want to get pools. Think the best analogy I've ever heard is that Wi-Fi is like a lamp, is like light. There's pools of light around a lamp. And you want to make sure that there are sufficient pools of light to light up the whole place, right? And you can either get a really bright light in the bedroom, but it doesn't go through doors great. It's going to get dimmer as it gets farther away. Or with a mesh system, you can have multiple lamps throughout the house, and you get enough so that everywhere's lit. Instead of being lit, of course, it's getting internet access. But that's totally doable. And that's what a mesh is all about.
Okay.
So you just need, how many square feet?
Well, a little over 1,800
yeah.
square feet for the entire
a base unit, and technically they're 1,500 square feet each. Get a base unit and a beacon, you're going to be great.
So put the beacon in the office and connect the Ethernet from that to the back of the Mac. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
That's what. So it is true that you want to. The best connection will be a direct hardwired connection. In other words, in the bedroom. But if you do it right, it's going to be close to just as fast everywhere. And that's the whole point of mesh, is to give you that. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Thank you, Chris. Hello, Johnny.
Hello, Leo. How you doing?
You got back in time. Good man.
My flight landed an hour early.
Oh, man. I love that Delta.
No, it was American.
Oh, yeah. You were in Florida, weren't you?
No, I was in New York City.
I saw the JFK terminal picture, but then you said, what airport am I at? I thought for sure that was Florida.
Everyone said that because I didn't realize there was a Miami ad on the wall.
Right.
But that was JFK's Terminal 8.
Oh, T8. Is that the new terminal? Do you like it?
It's not that new, but it's newer than most. And actually, they're actually going to start working on redoing it again because it's at least probably 12 years old.
Oh, it is old. Wow.
But that's not old.
No, they have older. They definitely have older.
They definitely have older, and it's fine. I mean, I was surprised when I read that because I don't think it really needs it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Hey, I guess everyone's trying
That's
to.
the thing.
Everybody,
Everybody wants to have the nicest terminal. We're going to be in. I can't wait. The Singapore terminal next January.
Well, I thought we'd talk about this on the air. I'm going to Singapore in a few weeks.
That terminal is supposed to be amazing.
Oh, it is. I mean, I've been to Singapore multiple times. I haven't been in the last 5 years. I have not seen the Jewel, which is a mall connected to it.
You know what terminal was very, very disappointing?
Let's hear it.
Dubai.
You know what? They have the best duty-free shopping. But yeah,
I don't care about duty-free. It's not just not special. It's badly done. So, for instance, we get there, and there's nobody at the counter. You can't sign in until 3 hours before the flight, period.
Well, that's with a lot of airlines. You can't sign in until 3 hours. So
but there's nowhere to sit. There's nowhere to be.
That's ridiculous. And I assume
so we're all huddled. They have like a few benches in the middle of the hall, the Grand International Hall. We're all huddled there, waiting for the counter to open so we can all rush it.
That's ridiculous. So were you flying premium?
Yes, business.
Well, I've never heard of that before. Usually when you're flying one of the Middle Eastern carriers, and I've flown...
Well, because they weren't open, I couldn't... Normally, I'd get there early because I like to for international, check the bags, get rid of them, and then go to the lounge. But because they weren't there, we couldn't. We had to sit there, like, and...
So were you on a connection? Because
no.
Emirates, they should have given you a free limo service. If you have a premium ticket on Emirates,
no, it wasn't Emirates. It was Cathay Pacific.
Oh well, that's different.
I'm not gonna fly Emirates. I've flown them. I don't want to go there anymore.
Why is that?
I think they're not so good.
Okay, but just to finish my point, if you are flying Emirates, you get a free limo to and from the airports.
Right.
And if you're in premium, business or first.
Right.
But and that's also with Qatar. Actually, no, that's just with Emirates. I think
getting to the airport wasn't the issue.
Right. I mean, it's not far.
It was sitting in the middle of the international departure hall, waiting for a flight, and there's very few chairs there.
Well, the tip is there. You don't show up so early.
Well, I should have known, right? But I didn't know.
But I'm flying Cathay in a few weeks. I love Cathay.
I know. I was very disappointed because we ended up not going Cathay because the flight was the day before. It's a long story. I didn't arrive early. I arrived 24 hours late.
Okay, because a lot of the Middle Eastern carriers, when you're flying business class, they'll meet you curbside like a doorman would at a expensive hotel, and they'll grab your bags and bring you right to check-in. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Thank you. My salad is here.
And their lounges are amazing with, incredible food.
Nice. Hey, a little reminder, it's this time of year again. Once a year we do our official Twit survey. We like to get to know our audience a little bit better. It helps us produce programming you want to hear. It also helps us sell advertising, and you can do it because we don't want to track you. We want to make this voluntary. And so if you would like, only if you would like, you don't have to answer every question. If you're uncomfortable, we don't collect personal information. The whole idea is in aggregate. We can tell advertisers, oh yeah, we got a smart audience. They're with it. They're hip. That kind of thing. It helps us. Let's put it that way. twit.to/survey20 shouldn't take you too long. No sign-up form. It just helps us make Twit work a little bit better. That's twit.to/survey20. We don't want to track you, but we do like to know a little bit more about you if you don't mind. It's up to you. Completely voluntary. Johnny Jett is back you were at the New York Times travel show?
Yes, I spoke at the New York Times travel show yesterday, and I just flew in just now. I actually landed an hour early. I actually emailed you, said I didn't think I was going to be able to make it. But unheard of in the wintertime is to have tailwinds going east to west.
Oh.
Usually the tailwinds are west to east.
Wow.
So
that's amazing.
It is. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you great.
Okay, good. Just making sure. So anyway, I'm supposed to be going to Asia in a few weeks. We were just talking about the Singapore terminal in the commercial break, and I really want to go to it.
It's supposed to be legendary, right? It's got like waterfalls and stuff.
They spent $1 billion on the Jewel, which is this incredible waterfall in the middle of a mall connected to the airport. And actually, locals. It's a big local destination on weekends. That's where they go to hang out because it's cool, air conditioned, and incredible shopping. And eligible.
What do they? Why? Is it because it makes it a tourist destination if you have a really nice airport? Is that why they do that? That's a lot of money to spend. How are they going to make that money back?
They spend $1 billion just on the Jewel.
Just on the waterfall.
So, I mean, listen, they have plenty of money. Singapore Airport is the best airport in the world, and that's why it always wins those awards. They have a movie theater, a free movie theater in there for passengers. They have a butterfly garden. They have the world's largest slide in an airport. I've gone down it before.
But nobody chooses, I'm going to go to Singapore because they have a great airport.
Well, I've done it before. I love it. I love the airport.
But that's you. Most people, I'm just going to go to whatever airport is where I'm going.
Agreed. I mean, the whole thing is about destinations.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you had you had to change planes, and the choice was, well, maybe I'll change planes in Malaysia, or maybe I'll change in Singapore, or whatever. Then maybe, instead of Kuala Lumpur, let's go to the nice airport. Maybe, I don't know.
Right. Well, the KL airport's nice too, but not as nice as Singapore.
So
but
there, see?
It depends on the terminal that you're flying out of, by the way. So I'm flying Cathay Pacific in a few weeks, but they fly out of Terminal 4. And to get to the Crown from T4 is a hassle. It will take at least 30 minutes, and you have to take 2 trains, I think. And so I'm not even sure I'm even going to be able to see the Jewel. But speaking of Singapore and Asia, everyone's talking about the coronavirus. And I'm sure I've been getting all kinds of emails. I'm sure viewers and readers want to know, should they travel? And obviously, I'm not a health expert. Fortunately, I'm leaving in a few weeks, so I'm going to see how it goes in the next week or so. But right now, it's, I thought it might have been a lot of media hype, but I've been reading some stuff. I was just reading it on the plane. I mean, it could be devastating to Asia and, I mean, obviously the world, but I think travel is going to slow down immediately if it continues to grow. Although they say the numbers are growing because China did share the genetic code. And so everyone else now has the code. And so people who were already infected, they thought it was just a flu. Now they realize it was a coronavirus. So that's why the numbers are growing so fast. But the resources that you want to go to are the WHO International, which is WHO.int, and you just type in WHO coronavirus and it will show up. It's a long URL. I'm not going to give it to you. And also the CDC.gov, which is the US's one, and they have all kinds of resources in there. But if I was going to Asia tomorrow, I'm not sure if I would go. I would be cautious, but. My advice is to read up and find out what's going on, and there are ways you can do it. But even if you are keeping your hands away from your mouth and washing your hands often, they say you can get it through just having your eyes open.
I should mention
that's why they're wearing goggles.
Johnny Jet is a germaphobe.
I am a germaphobe.
I just want to mention this so you can, assess this appropriately. It's really unclear right now. The CDC says, there have been a number of deaths reported in China. Other patients have had milder illnesses and have been discharged. It's not clear if it's another SARS or MERS. The real problem with all of these is they can evolve. And so I think as of now.
Actually, I would go today. If I was going today, I would go. But, you just don't know what's going on. And they say a lot of people have already been sick and they just thought it was a flu. And it's not a big deal. It's mostly people who are really being affected are the elderly and people who have respiratory.
Right now, the CDC is saying it's a level 1 for China. Practice usual precautions. If you're going to Wuhan, the epicenter of the outbreak, avoid non-essential travel. So stay, and I think the Chinese are actually keeping people out of Wuhan.
You can't go to Wuhan. They're not letting people get out or in.
Right. I remember when we went to China, they actually, before you could get off the airplane, they sprayed you and everybody in the plane, and then they used a remote temperature sensor to look at your temperature. Yep. They really have some strict quarantine systems going on in China.
Well, they do that throughout Asia. And I think Australia too. When I land in Australia, they go through the plane.
Yeah.
And India, they've always sprayed the planes for insects. To make sure there's
maybe
no bugs.
Insects. Yeah.
That's for insects.
Oh, okay.
And but they do take your temperature to make sure that you don't have any. Not in Australia, but in some parts of Asia, they do that.
Yeah.
And you don't even realize it. You're just walking through, but if you see people with the monitors on,
right.
you can tell. But listen, I don't want to scare people. So if you do have tickets to Asia, don't follow my advice. Follow the pros.
Go by WHO or CDC.
Yeah.
And now, I think they're saying be cautious, but it's not yet a crisis. We seem to have this every year. We had Ebola last year, SARS, MERS. It seems to be and part of this is because, thanks to Johnny Jet, we all travel a lot more, right? People are coming from China all over the world, and so this virus is spreading all over the world fairly quickly.
It is, and also stay away from the animal markets. I mean,
well, they think this came from an animal market. Yeah,
they think it might even came from a snake. They drink snake's blood and eat snake. And I've been to markets like that, but I was like, I'm not eating snake or drinking snake blood. I'm sorry.
There's nothing I'd rather do than tuck in a hearty
Cobra.
Just really enjoy that with a side of fries. It's so good. No, I don't eat snake.
So speaking of travel and like China and stuff. So when I do go to China, I would use a VPN, a virtual private network, which we talked about before. But this week I was flying to New York, and I think I might have got hacked either on the plane or in my hotel room.
Oh no!
Because I didn't have my VPN on right away, and then 2 nights ago or last night, I can't remember, I had all these messages. I came back from a work party and I had all these messages saying that your password's been changed to your bank.
Yikes!
And I'm like, what?
What?
So, and by the way, Bank of America, are they one of your sponsors?
No.
Oh, good, because they are terrible when it comes to something being hacked. I got an email saying if you did not change your password or authorize this.
Well, first of all, make sure that it was Bank of America that was sending you that notice.
I made sure.
Don't ever click a link in an email that says "Come fix your password." You go directly to type it in the browser, bankofamerica.com.
Exactly. So that's what I did. I typed it in, and sure enough, I had someone trying to transfer $100 from Zelle. But the number, it says if you did not make this transfer, it didn't say click a link, so dial this number. I did. I was on the phone for over an hour just trying to speak to the automation, just yelling at it the whole time.
Okay, little tip I've learned: it doesn't help to yell at automation.
Yeah, well, when you find out that your bank account's been hacked,
hurry up! I'm trying to get them.
Yeah, and it's like, please repeat that. I'm like, oh my god. So, but anyway, they said yeah. And you could see it, and the names in there, the email address, the phone number they transferred to. I don't know how they do not bust these people. So I said,
turn on two-factor. Turn on two-factor.
I had that on.
Well, then something else happened.
So and then I got hacked the next morning. The other account. I said, listen, I told you to freeze the accounts.
Wipe your hard drive. I don't know what's going on, Johnny. Let's take this one off the air because we got to take a break. Okay. Johnny Jet. If you want to know more about Johnny, I'm sure there'll be a blog post at johnnyjet.com. Subscribe to his newsletter. It's free and it's awesome. And follow him on Twitter and Instagram too. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Sorry, that was a quick 10 minutes or 9 minutes.
It went fast, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, I was about to bring up a couple of websites, and I had. So, what do you think of malware bites?
No.
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 So,
Johnny.
some of my friends were recommending that. I was like, no.
No. So it's not bad. It's not the solution.
Okay.
So first of all, I'd really like to figure out what's going on.
Yep.
Are you on a Mac or a PC? You're on a Mac, aren't you?
No, PC.
PC. Oh well. And so your password of your bank account got changed, and then another same bank got changed.
Same bank. But I also got an email from T-Mobile saying that that they're trying to change my username on my phone. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Could be your phone got hacked too. That's the question: is what is it that got messed with, and what was the attack? This is interesting. It's not from the VPN. That's not going to really protect you.
No. Okay. Because I run the VPN actually on my phone too. Actually, I might not have. It probably wasn't on because it sucks my battery.
Yeah. It's probably much more likely. So VPN won't. I mean, they'll protect you against some really sophisticated attacks, but much more likely there's a malware payload got in from a link you clicked or attachment you opened or something like that.
So what do you recommend that I run?
Malwarebytes is fine. You can run that. I mean, on your phone, there's not much you can do. It's
an iPhone.
Yeah, no, you're fine. It's not the iPhone then. I'm much more actually concerned not one of your devices was hacked, but that something else was, like the bank.
What was?
That the bank was.
Well,
and also, if you're T-Mobile, they try to change your. Is there anywhere on your? That's interesting because that would kind of indicate your phone more.
Yeah, but I thought iPhones couldn't get hacked.
Well, you can always get hacked. Jeff Bezos' iPhone got hacked by a malicious WhatsApp.
Well, you know what? Now I think about it. I did get a text from the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia.
Oh, there you go.
So I'm just
nothing
teasing.
wrong with MBS.
Now my phone's definitely getting hacked.
All right, here's why. First of all, Malwarebytes is okay if you get it from them directly. You make sure you go to the right site because there's a lot of malware posing as Malwarebytes.
Well,
the real problem is
download the app.
Yeah, get it from malwarebytes.com though. Don't get it from,
Well, I went into the iPhone store. You
got it from the Apple Store.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, and then on my computer, I went directly to Malwarebytes.
Yeah, get it from malwarebytes.com. Nowhere else. And make sure you're there. The problem is it will help, maybe, but maybe not.
Okay.
It's not guaranteed. I really would like to know what happened. I'd like to understand better what happened.
I would too. And I'm about
you
to go
had
down to the bank right now.
You have two-factor on it.
Yes.
So, and the two-factor is a text message, right?
Correct.
I'm more worried
but they didn't they did get in the bank account after. First, they only got into the Zelle, which I only used once a couple of years ago to pay my
two-factor on that too. Don't you?
I would think so. I don't use it. I used it once.
Yeah, but in order to use it, you have to log in. And in order to log in, you have to get a two-factor. So that's the biggest puzzlement. They can't get that with malware. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888. Ask Leo, the phone number. I'm going to say hi to Kara in San Diego. Hi, Kara.
Hey, Leo. I just first wanted to thank you for recommending the Epson printer.
Oh.
I got one for Christmas, but I'm still waiting for the ink on my Canon to go dry, which I don't think is going to take much longer.
No.
But
those ink cartridges.
I can't.
If you ever open one up, they have it looks like, there must be a lot of ink in there. It's fairly big, but if you open it up, it's a giant sponge and there's a tiny amount of ink in there, so they'll run out fast. Don't worry.
Yeah, so I can't wait to use it.
Yeah, you're going to love it. Good. Well, thank you for getting that, our sponsor. Thank you.
Well, good. I know you're talking about upgrades and things, and that's one of the reasons I bought this printer. I'm a writer, and I need to print out hundreds, thousands of pages.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that, because that's a kind of backup, isn't it? And, I mean, of course, you're going to print it out to do other things with it, but having the printout, even if the computer failed, everything died, you have the printout. And that's so important. In fact, bring it to work or bring it somewhere else so that it's safe, because that is actually a backup. We always think of backups as digital, but a printout's a backup too.
Mm-hmm. I normally do like Google Docs because I know it's there.
That's right. That's a backup. That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
But there's also nightmare scenarios like people's occasionally their Google accounts get canceled. And it's usually without warning. And if you don't have a local copy, suddenly your Google Drive is inaccessible. Wow, that could be bad. So it's always good to really be safe. You have to have a disaster mentality. You have to always be thinking about what's the worst thing that could happen, and then that way you'll plan for the worst.
That's really good advice.
Isn't it depressing? Yeah. Well, there you go. There you go. See?
So my question is, you're going to laugh at this laptop I have. I actually have two. I use a Chromebook for carrying it around and doing the Google Docs.
Nice.
But,
yep.
The one expensive one that I bought, which even wasn't that expensive, was a Toshiba. It's a Satellite S55.
Ah, a classic. A vintage computer.
I love it, but my problem is when I'm writing, I've written all these, pages and pages, and now I have to edit.
Yeah.
So I need something, either a laptop. I know I need a new laptop, and some kind of program where I can scan pages like, lightning speed, because I go through, because you're going through and you need to get to page 100, and, I skim pretty fast, and I'm doing it faster than my computer.
So you're saying the page turns in Google Docs are too slow for you?
It's horrible. Even the typing is lagging.
That's because it's a pretty old laptop.
Yeah.
Almost any modern laptop would be. What program besides Google Docs? What program do you use to write? Do you have a word processor you like?
Well, I was using Microsoft Word, and
that's kind of a pig. You don't need so much, right? In fact, many writers I know like to have a distraction-free write. Remember the old days? You have a typewriter and a clean piece of paper, and there wasn't a lot to fiddle with. There was no temptation from solitaire. I know one writer takes all of the games off his computer, all the solitaire, all the Minecraft, Minesweeper, because he knows he'll procrastinate.
Yeah.
Any modern computer will be fast enough. Do you find your Chromebook fast enough, or no? Google Docs is just not that fast.
At times it is, but then at other times it just seems to get bogged down.
It depends on your internet, because you're reading it off the internet, and that's why it's inconsistent.
Yeah.
If it's on a hard drive, then it should be pretty darn fast. Certainly as fast as you could read. So any modern computer would be fine. Do you have a preference for Mac or Windows? Do you care?
Well, I'd like to. I've never done anything on a Mac, so I probably might not be a good time to switch.
Yeah, you want to focus. Yeah. Well, there are
just Windows.
Yeah.
Pretty much all I do, except flip around to Facebook and stuff, and that kind of thing. But pretty much all I do is write and edit. And I just feel like I really need to spend some money and get something, that's going to help me save some time.
Yeah, this is a business tool for you.
Yeah.
What other factors do you care about? Should it be lightweight, long battery life? Do you want a desktop, a laptop? What are you thinking?
I don't want a desktop.
You want a laptop because you want to take it places.
Yeah. Yes.
So lightweight would be good. Yeah. That Toshiba weighs 5 pounds. That thing's heavy.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so you can get a 2-pound computer that would do a very good job. There's a couple of things I would take a look at. Microsoft makes a very nice laptop, the Surface laptop. The Surface Laptop 3 just came out and is really thin, light, very beautiful. The reason I mention it is because one of my friends, Mary Jo Foley, is also a writer. She writes for tech. She's a tech reporter, and that's what she bought. She loves it. It's got a nice keyboard, very nice screen, very thin, very light, decent battery life. Starts at about $1,000. They have a 13-inch version or a 15-inch version. It's going to be smaller than your satellite. But honestly, 13 is the most portable, best battery life. But a lot of people say, well, but I want a bigger screen. So that's kind of what you want.
Right. I think a bigger screen would be helpful.
Okay, so go for the 15. Other companies that make excellent laptops. Honestly, to me, the best keyboards are the Lenovo ThinkPads. They're built like tanks, so they're very robust, and they have, I think it's widely agreed, the best laptop keyboards in the business. Lots of travel, nice size keycaps. They're very usable. So I would look at a Lenovo ThinkPad.
All right.
And I mentioned this earlier, the new HPs are very nice, the X360s. They're thin, they're light, they're very powerful, and they probably have the best battery life of any laptop out there right now. So they're gorgeous borderless screens, so you get a lot of screen space. And the problem these days with keyboards is as these get thinner, they want the key travel to get shorter and shorter. And Apple has, you may remember, gotten a lot of trouble for its very short travel keyboards. People just really didn't like them. So that's something to pay attention to. And if you can try it beforehand, because typing is what you do.
Yeah. This is going to be a dumb question, but like, does i3, i5, i7, does that have anything to do?
Yeah,
with
it will have. It will. It's a speed thing for you. You should get an i5. You don't. An i3 is too slow. You don't need an i7. But if you want to be able to scan quickly through pages, if you want to scroll quickly through a 1,000-page book, you're going to want an i5.
Okay, we bought my daughter the Lenovo the ThinkPad in an i5. It was like Costco had a deal on it, and she got that for college. So
it's a great college machine. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Lenovo's. I have to say, I think ThinkPads they're not attractive.
Yeah,
they look like tanks. I wouldn't recommend the less expensive Lenovo's. I would say get a ThinkPad, but I think they're quite good if you want thin and light. The X1 Carbon. Is beautiful. Okay. It's 14 inches. It's right in between, which is probably just what you'd want. I think they're quite good. I think you're going to be very happy with those. And boy, those keyboards feel good. I'm sitting in front of one right now. Really like it.
Well, I'm going to take your advice and check that out. I really appreciate it.
What kind of writing? What do you write?
I kind of do Diary of a Wimpy Kid type genre.
Fun.
For fifth graders.
Awesome, young adult. Awesome.
Yes, young adult. Yep.
Nice to talk to you. Have fun. Good luck with the next book. Now I'm really thinking about Johnny's issue. I really want to help Johnny. I feel like there's more that we need to know about what happened. I don't want him to go all crazy with the, wiping and messing around if we could figure out what happened. Somebody's saying maybe they just tried to use a Zelle transfer with your account number. Thing is, if you have two-factor on there, you either are very, very compromised. Could be the evil maid scenario. Somebody tried to do it, your laptop was left open in the hotel room and they got in. Maybe a SIM swap, but that's a severe compromise. Or they just tried to use your account number on Zelle or something like that. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, hour 3 of the Tech Guy Show. I am your tech guy for the day. I'll be serving you fine tech tidbits at 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number, 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Toll free there, but toll free really if anywhere in the world if you use Skype out or something like that to call that number. Shouldn't cost you a penny. We also have a chat room that is a lot of fun at irc.twit.tv and a website. That's at techguylabs.com. And everything that we say on the show ends up on the website. There's a link to the chat room and the phone number there too, by the way. And all our stations, techguylabs.com. And that's free. Everything's free. We got great sponsors. I don't need to charge you. I charge them. Chuck in San Diego, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Chuck.
Hey, Leo. Good afternoon. So my wife and I, we keep our phones for a very long time. I'm still using a 6S iPhone. And I would characterize myself as a reasonably satisfied Sprint user. So I would probably just head to the Apple Store or to Sprint to buy the latest and greatest model. However, I want to hold on to it for a few years. And with the T-Mobile merger coming, am I going to be holding, something that's not going to work as well in a few years?
No, if anything, it would work better. That merger is still up in the air. A number of states' attorneys general are blocking it. So it's not a done deal. But even if in fact, you might want it to be a done deal because then you'll be able to use the T-Mobile towers as well as the Sprint towers. So if anything, it'll increase your capabilities.
The phone will work on either one?
If you get an iPhone, yeah.
Okay.
It used to be in the old days, and you would get a Sprint or Verizon phone, or you would get a T-Mobile or AT&T phone. Sprint and Verizon used a technology called CDMA, and T-Mobile and AT&T use GSM. Nowadays, they all use LTE, and so it doesn't matter. So any phone you get, almost any phone you get these days will be fine, and any iPhone for sure will be. It has all the radios.
Thank you very much, Phil.
You're welcome. Enjoy. Yeah, my mom has a 6S and she got the battery fix that Apple was offering for whatever it was, $39, and she's very happy. She does not want to replace it because it still has a headphone jack. She loves the headphone jack. I don't blame her. This is what we were talking about earlier, this whole thing of, I don't want to say planned obsolescence, But computer technology gets obsolete faster, wears out, in effect, faster than the hardware does. The 6S phone is fine. The battery is one of the few things that wears out. That's relatively easily replaced, inexpensively replaced. And then you should go another 3 or 4 years. And there's nothing, it's not like the hardware, the bits are wearing out in the chip or anything. The chemistry in the battery is the only moving part, the only thing that's wearing out. Replace that, you should have a brand new phone, except companies don't want to support this old hardware. And if you're a cynic, you say, well, that's how they get you to buy new hardware. And certainly Apple doesn't make money on the operating system. They make money on the hardware. They want you to buy new hardware. But also, it's just harder to support it. The processors are faster now. Their capabilities much more rich. You'd like to write software that take advantage of modern technology, not be tied to technology from 4 or 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah, I understand that. It's a conundrum, because it kind of hurts my soul to see perfectly good hardware tossed only because the software is not being kept up to date. And of course, that's what's happening with a lot of Windows 7 machines, because Windows 7 isn't going to be updated as of last week, actually 2 weeks ago now. So, I don't know what the answer is. If that 6S is working fine, and I can't remember if it runs iOS 13, the latest version of iOS. If it does, it won't be much longer before it stops running the latest version. At that point, maybe it is worth getting a new phone. And, the cameras are better, the processors are faster, the memory's great. And if you can find a way to recycle the old phone, turn it into Apple, either they'll recycle it or they'll sell it. There's also lots of places like Gazelle.com that will buy used phones and give you cash for them. Sprint might. I think a lot of times Sprint does, in fact, give you a trade-in. And then in most cases, you hope those don't end up in the landfill, that somebody's getting the use of that, because the hardware is still good. Dave, Redondo Beach, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Leo.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, my technical savior. Listen to you every weekend.
Thank you, sir.
I've always got a list as long as my arm of stuff to ask you about. But
well, I'll give you 4.8 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay. I got a friend that I'm doing a favor for. She has a grandson that she's been taking video of. And she's got an iPhone, and she wants to watch it on her TV. First, she wanted me to burn DVDs of them.
No.
We downloaded them. It's like about 300 of them off her iDrive, and about 58 gigabytes worth. And the whole technical...
Don't do that, yeah. Also, that's kind of a dead end.
Yes, DVD, it's just, I gave up.
It's a dead end. It's a lot of work. And a technology that's soon to be outmoded. Get an Apple TV.
Well, she doesn't have a lot of space on it, and she's not real technical oriented. She doesn't want to trade up her phone. It's an iPhone 6.
No, get an Apple TV that hooks up to her TV instead of a DVD player. It's a little box. It's a little over $100.
She doesn't even have Wi-Fi in her house. This is how.
Oh, she has no internet. Yeah, it does require internet. Because the Apple TV, I'll just tell you what you would get. You say she puts it on the iCloud. Well, all those movies could be watched via iCloud on the Apple TV without any processing on your part. But she does need internet access to that. She can also use AirPlay, which is Apple's technology to take what's on the phone and send it right to the TV. We were watching YouTube videos this morning on the big screen TV from my laptop using Apple TV. But you gotta have internet to do that.
Yeah, and she's not even going to do that. So
you may be stuck. I'm sorry. Now, the other thing to look at is to see if her TV has a USB port or a place to put it.
That's what we're doing.
Oh, good. All right.
Yep. I'm looking at a flash drive, about a 128 gigabyte. Put them all on here, and I've tested in a couple of things. Now, here's the deal. She's been taking these videos in portrait mode, and when I play them back, after converting them from MOV to MP4, because...
Right, that's what the TV needs, yep.
Yeah, exactly. They show up sideways. And
they show sideways? Oh, that stinks.
Yeah, so I'm looking for some software that will do a batch conversion to MP4 as well as fix the orientation, flip them to the right. And I found one called Wondershare. Against my better judgment, I downloaded it on my MacBook Pro, and it looks like it will do it. They want $40 for it.
No.
I thought I'd ask you.
Get Handbrake. It's free. Handbrake.fr.
I've used it.
Oh, yeah, there you go. That'll do all the conversion you need. The flipping it is, unfortunately, maybe not going to fix it, because what's happening is the iPhone puts information about the proper orientation in the video. The TV's ignoring that. So I think the issue is the TV, not the iPhone. That should be shown with big black bars on the left and right, like a little door on the TV. It shouldn't be flipping it sideways. And that sounds to me like the TV is deciding on its own, clearly these videos were shot sideways, so I'm going to fix it. And I don't think that it's, in other words, it's ignoring the information stored in the file about the orientation.
Well, that's what happened on the TV, but also she's got a Blu-ray player. It's also a little bit old, but it does the same thing on the USB input on the Blu-ray player. So I thought that maybe if I could do a batch flipping of the orientation and give that a try. I don't know.
It's worth a try, but my guess is these devices are merely saying which is the long side, which is the short side. Okay, display them that way, instead of doing what they're supposed to do, which is look in the metadata and see, I see, it's supposed to be this way, even though that I don't agree with that. It's supposed to be this way. I would try, take a look at Handbrake. It's free. You know, QuickTime will also change the orientation, but I don't think that's the issue, because I think the information is in there that says play this vertically. And the TV it's not that the TV, it's not even looking at that. It's just saying, well, I see what the long side is. That's how I'm going to do it. So yeah, obviously you're going to try converting one. Handbrake's free. You don't need to buy anything. What Handbrake is a front end to a tool that will absolutely do this, but it's a command line tool called FFmpeg. Handbrake makes FFmpeg easy to use because it's Macish. It's got windows and click boxes and buttons. But honestly, if you want to be able to do anything, including flip video and whatever, what you probably want to do is convert the video into a widescreen format with a door in the middle. So the TV will see a video that is widescreen and play it right, but you've reoriented it. That will trick the TV. FFmpeg will do that, but you're going to have to look at the manual for FFmpeg online. If you just do a Google search for FFmpeg manual, you'll see all the things it can do. It's a very complicated command line program, but it's an amazingly powerful program. I think it comes with the Mac. If not, it's easily installed. And it's open source software, ffmpeg.org. It's amazing. And there will be a command line switch. There's thousands of them that says, make this a widescreen video sideways, with a door in the middle. I think that's going to have to, you're going to have to, in other words, deliver to the TV something that the TV goes, oh yeah, it's widescreen, it's landscape mode, but you've embedded in the middle of it a portrait-sized video. You're a nice fellow to try this. Don't pay for anything. There's no reason to. FFmpeg's free and does everything. We convert all the video on our podcast network. The whole process is all through FFmpeg. There's nothing it can't. Is there nothing it can't? There's nothing it can't do. It's amazing. Maria in Los Angeles. Hello, Maria.
Hi, thank you. I have a laptop running Windows 7, but with the support and update no longer available, I feel more comfortable getting a new one. I hear that you recommend Chromebooks, but I don't know which one. I'm not very technical person. Mostly it's going to be for paying bills, but I want it to be connected to a printer with scanning capabilities. Which one do you recommend, and where should I go for it?
So, first thing you should know is that it is probable that you can upgrade that existing computer to Windows 10 for free. You might want to try that. Then you'd save yourself some money. But I like your idea, because a Chromebook, and they're not very expensive, they're under $500, is more secure. And if everything you do is online, there's no reason that you need anything more complicated. A Chromebook is much safer to use, especially for things like online banking, than Windows would be. As for connecting a printer, you can connect a printer, but most people with Chromebooks print wirelessly. But nevertheless, almost any printer these days will work with a Chromebook just fine, either connected to USB or wirelessly. And what you want is what they call a multifunction or MFC printer that'll do scanning as well as printing and copying. And some of them even do faxing if you care about that.
I have an existing HP Office Jet 4635. It's not even a year old, but
that should work fine with a Chromebook. There should be no problem. You don't need to get a new printer. I
changed the cartridges, and the printer does not recognize my cartridge.
This drives me nuts.
Yeah.
A number of companies will, and I think HP is one of them, will put a copy protection chip in the ink cartridges, so you have to buy theirs.
Well, it's theirs. I mean, it's not like a...
Where'd you get it?
Office Depot.
Oh, okay. Sometimes in Amazon, you'll get stuff with that says it's HP, that says or whatever, it says it's authentic, and they're not. But I don't think Office Depot would be selling inauthentic inkjet cartridges.
I thought probably it was the color. Then when I changed the black, and then
it's just not printing, or is it printing badly?
It doesn't
recognize it. Oh.
No.
Yeah, this is that. I think it's still related to the copy protection. That drives me nuts. There's no look. If you're going to get a new printer, you know what I like: the Epson, Eco Tanks. They're great, and they don't have cartridges. They don't. The Eco. I don't want to spend a lot of your money, but honestly. If you can't get that HP printer working, and it seems to me you should be able to. So the totally free solution is upgrade to Windows 10. That's free. You have to get the upgrade from Microsoft.
Okay.
Microsoft has something they call a media creation tool. It makes it on a USB stick that you can then install on top of your Windows 7, upgrade to Windows 10. Then you'll get secure patches and stuff. You don't need to get a new computer. That HP printer, it should work. I don't know what's going on. Maybe try a different cartridge. Call HP. That's on them because they're putting copy protection in there, and that's probably something went wrong there, and that's on them. But if it's more than a year old, they may say, well, sorry, can't help you. It's out of warranty.
I think it's exactly 1 year old.
Yeah, of course. That's when it fails, right? 1 year old, that's when it fails.
Yeah. And going back to the Chromebook, any model you could recommend from Best Buy or Costco?
I really like the Samsungs. They're my favorite. Acer makes them. I'll tell you the two I like: Asus, ASUS, and Samsung, and they'll have both of those. The nice thing about those is they're inexpensive. You're not paying the Windows tax. They're simpler. If they do everything you want them to do, you're better off because the more complicated the operating system, the easier it is to have problems with it, right? Simple's always better. I'm going to put in the show notes 2 links. One, how to get a Windows 10 upgrade for free. And then Scooter X in our chat room has found an HP support topic that sounds like your issue. My printer is rejecting my new genuine cartridge. What should I do? I don't know if HP has any. They have, do all these things. Clean, they got pictures even. It's worth, I guess, at least trying their fix. I'll put that in the show notes at TechGuyLabs.com.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you.
And any of those 2 printers that you recommend will support?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Any of those Chromebooks you recommend will support?
Yeah, all those printers will work fine. Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you so very much.
You're very welcome. I will never talk you out of a Chromebook. I just think if it can do the things you need it to do, and if you can do everything you need to do in a browser, it will. It's the most secure, safest thing you can do. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. For those of us with technology that's no longer working, with printers that no longer print, with computers that out-of-date software, with Sonos speakers that will stop working in May, hey, it could be worse. You could have launched a Mars rover for multiple billions of dollars up onto the surface of Mars and then just go, oh, it's not working. NASA Curiosity, the Mars rover, it's the latest Mars rover. There's another one going up this year. Was working great, even though Opportunity, its older brother, had failed in a dust storm. But then something went wrong, and Curiosity apparently no longer knows where it is. NASA says rovers need to know where their bodies are relative to their surroundings. Curiosity stores its body attitude in memory. Things like the orientation of each joint, which instrument on the end of its arm is pointing down, how close it is to the ground. It also stores its knowledge of the environment, things like how steep the slope is, where the big rocks are, where the bedrock sticks out in a dangerous way. It evaluates this information before it moves. Before any motor can be activated, it has to go, where am I? What am I doing here? When the answer is, I don't know, Curiosity stops. Apparently, that's what's happened. For some reason, Curiosity has lost its way. It's lost. And, it's a long way to get service personnel up there would be hard. Partway, NASA wrote, through its last set of activities, Curiosity lost its orientation. Some knowledge of its attitude was not quite right, so it couldn't make the essential safety evaluation. So it stopped moving, froze in place. And it won't move until it knows until it gets its orientation back. You ever been disoriented? You can feel for it, don't you? NASA says Curiosity kept sending us information so we know what happened, and we're working on a plan to inform Curiosity of its attitude. You have an attitude problem, mister. And to confirm what happened, we want Curiosity to recover its ability to make its safety checks. We also want to know if there's anything we can do to prevent a similar problem in the future. So, at least for now, Curiosity is just sitting there. Refuses to move. You got more computers, more problems. That's it. It's very simple. Janet in Huntington Beach, California is next. Hi, Janet. Hello, Janet.
Janet, come on over to the phone, Janet.
She's frozen. Her attitude is stuck. She cannot move. All right, I'm going to put you on hold, Janet. Don't go anywhere. We'll get back to you. Line 4, Tom in Carson, California. Hi, Tom.
Hi, how you doing? What I'm trying to do is I have a laptop, a Dell with an i5 in it, that's got an administrator password that we don't know, and we can't get past it. So I didn't know if that password was stored on the hard drive, and if we replaced the hard drive and reloaded the operating system.
Oh, yeah, you could do. Well, it depends. There's layers and layers of passwords. There's a BIOS password, your firmware password, there's a hard drive password. But if you're getting past all of that and you're seeing the Windows login, but you just don't know what the password is, just wiping the drive and starting over will fix it. Did you get this from somebody else?
Yeah, well, my son has it, and he's no longer employed by that company, and they said don't bother sending it back.
You can keep it, but you can't log into it. Yeah, this is a good time to wipe the drive. You don't want any of the company's software on there. You certainly don't want any of the software the company put on there to monitor his use of the laptop, things like that.
Yeah, and it's a M.2 SSD on there because I opened it up. It's a Windows 7 now, and I had an old a spinning drive that was a Windows 7 that was a little flaky, but it kind of worked. And I thought, well, I'll just open it up and throw that in. Then I opened it up and said, I can't just throw that in now.
No, not anymore.
Yeah. So I was going to buy another M.2.
Oh, you don't even need to do that. I think all you need to do, if you have another Windows machine lying around.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just download Windows 10 from Microsoft. Google Microsoft Media Creation Tool.
Right.
You get a Windows 10 installer, you put it on a USB key. Make that company laptop boot into the USB key, and just try installing Windows over on top of it.
Well, that's what I thought I would do, because that's what I told them we would make it a Windows 10 anyway.
Yeah.
However, when I can't even get into change it to, I can't get past to show it to boot from the USB.
It has a firmware password on it. Then that's a more significant password, and that will not be fixed by swapping the drive out. That's in the firmware.
Okay, so there's no way around that, I guess.
There might be. Hackers are good at this kind of thing. So the company said he could keep it.
Right.
So you own it legitimately. Maybe the company forgot that they had. This is very common with company hardware. They've put a password on the firmware so he can't mess with it. You definitely want to wipe the drive because there's other software on there, other settings that they've put on there that you don't want.
Right.
If he can't call the company and say, hey, look, the firmware is locked, can I unlock it and get the password from them?
Mm-hmm.
Then it's going to take a little Googling because you're going to have to break. I don't know if it's possible to crack a firmware password. Generally speaking, those are very secure.
Right.
Because it isn't in software. It's actually written into the firmware of the laptop.
Right.
So there may be a way to reset the firmware.
Yeah. I didn't think it would be that easy,
Yeah, it's...
Because that was the plan. It was like it's got a 256 in it now, and we were probably going to put a bigger drive in it anyway. And so I thought, well, if that's going to do it, and then we'll do the upgrade to 10 because it's a registered machine, so it should be able to be authenticated once it was updated.
I just Googled it, and I do see a number of ways to crack the BIOS. In your case, it isn't BIOS if it's a relatively recent machine. It's UEFI or sometimes just firmware. And there are ways to, it looks like with a little Google search, there's a program called PC Unlocker that supports 32-bit and 64-bit UEFI. And if you forgot the administrator password for a UEFI-based computer, you can reset it easily. I bet it's not free. They say have a trial. So if it's not too expensive. But this is one of many tools. This is from top-password.com. Not tried it. Can't guarantee it. You may spend money on something that doesn't work. I think the first thing to do is call the company and say, hey, look, I have the company laptop. You gave it to me, but it's got a firmware password on it. I need to unlock it.
Right. Because in these days, the cost to ship it back, he's out here on the West Coast, they're on the East Coast. By the time
it's probably something dopey like Monkey 123, but you don't know. So
yeah, I might try.
No,
anyway, and see if I can just do it that way. If I get real lucky and just happen to hit it, use the company's name or something like that.
Yeah, you might. Yeah, a lot of times they don't make these too sophisticated because they don't want to type it a bunch of times. But if he's in good terms with the company, call him, ask him. That would be by far the fastest, easiest way. And then if you really can't get the company to help you out, there are apparently UEFI password crack tools. This firmware password's a little more sticky than just the Windows password. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Dick DeBartolo, the GizWiz, coming up. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, with some good news. NASA has just informed me that the Curiosity rover's attitude adjustment has been successful. It's back to doing science.
What was it doing before? It's just lounging around.
It literally couldn't move.
Bars.
It was lounging around. It couldn't move. They lost track of where it was in space and time. And but NASA fortunately had a backup, and they sent the data up to it, and it goes, "Oh, okay, thank you." It's like you just got a little groggy, and they woke it back up.
Oh, great.
Curiosity is an amazing story. It was scheduled to go work for no more than 2 years. It has a nuclear reactor in it. And it's been going for 8. It just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah, they forgot to put the label on it. Good for 2 years.
So yeah, best by date.
It doesn't know.
It doesn't know it's done. Exactly. That man right there, that's Dick DeBartolo. He's famous because for the last 5 decades, he's been Mad's maddest writer. Still holds the record. He's appeared in every Mad magazine for some many, many years. How many total issues?
About 52 years, hundreds of issues. Yeah.
Wow. Very impressive. He takes all that money he gets from Mad and he pours it into gadgets, gizmos. Yeah. And that's why we call him our gizmo wizard. GizWiz for short at gizwiz.biz. Hello, Dickie D.
Leo. So, Leo, I have a gadget. If you went to a resort and they were renting these, you would try it. but I don't think he would buy it.
It's not one of those things you put on your back and they pump all the water in it and then you go flying up in the air.
No. So you stay on the ground.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
Well, you stay in the water, but you ride above the water.
Oh, it's a hydrofoil.
It is the world's first hydrofoil bike.
I have seen videos of these. I want one of these so bad. You actually pedal your way across the water. It looks like you're at full speed.
Well, the guy told me 12 miles an hour.
That's pretty good. I'll take it.
You pedal yourself across the Atlantic. I was going to say, man, this guy really.
Yeah, no, that'd take a while.
Yeah.
But across a lake or a river, a stream, no problem.
Absolutely. And I told him, I said, the Hudson River gets really rough. How bad? He said, well, first of all, when you're learning, there's a learning curve.
Oh, yeah, they make it look easy.
Yeah, yes.
The girl takes her little hydrofoil bike and just tosses it in the lake and hops on and pedals off. It looks so easy. It's not that easy.
Not quite. There's a whole procedure to launch it from a dock. It's easier to launch it just standing in some water. You can go.
How do you get on it? If it's at waist height, how would you get on it? You wouldn't be.
On the dock. Well, it starts to sink. So as it starts to
Great.
sink, jump on it,
and then you pedal as fast as you can.
Well, there's pedal, and then you kick in pedal assist. How much you want?
Oh, does it have a battery in it?
Oh yeah, there's a motor.
Oh, it's like an electric bike. Okay, good. So you don't have to get it back up on the water all by yourself. You got some help.
Exactly. So the guy said it's an hour if you use the motor for full
just ride around.
Exactly.
I want one of these so bad. I love this idea.
Well, do you know the price?
Oh, I don't. No.
Okay. Well, I don't know. It's $7,500.
That's how much my Segway cost.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's carbon, mostly carbon and lightweight metals. I said to the guy, what made you think people would love to do this? He said, well, we made it. We put a video up on Facebook, and we got 300 million views.
That
and we
gave him an idea, yeah.
They said, oh, you know what? So we were selling them overseas, and he said we thought we'd use CES 2020 to introduce them to the U.S. market. And so far, they seem to be successful. I was just on their website earlier, and it seems as though the April and May number that they can build are sold out. So if you want one, you can put a deposit on.
I think this is cool. If I lived on a lake, I would get one. I mean, we can't really use it here, but if I lived on a lake.
Well, you could ride up and down the turning basin leads to that river. Where does that river goes out to the ocean, right?
It's called a river. It's a tidal slough. I don't think you want a bicycle on a tidal slough.
No,
I'm just saying.
No. I don't like anything that ends in slough.
Yeah. This is the Manta 5 Hydrofoiler XE-1.
Yeah, the world's first production hydrofoil bike.
Did you get to ride it?
No, I did because there was no. They wouldn't let me flood the stadium showstopper.
This was at Showstoppers. How did I miss it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, I really want this thing. That is so cool.
It's pretty cool. It is pretty cool. I'm not even sure I want it for the Hudson River. I think
you need a pristine body of water. How about your bathtub?
There you go. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
How far can you fall? The other thing is how far can you ride? The battery lasts for the whole season.
Back and forth, back and forth. This is really cool. I wonder how hard it is, though. It also looks kind of heavy. I mean, it's...
it's 63 pounds.
Yeah, that's pretty heavy.
And the two foils disconnect so you can carry it in the trunk of your car. But there, like he said, there's a learning curve, and you have to assemble it. And
boy, you look cool though when you're
when you're on
across
it.
the bay.
Take my picture now, boy. Take my picture now.
It's funny. I came close. It's not the thing you wear on your back that shoots you up in the air like James Bond, but it's close.
Would you do that? That looks pretty exciting. No, you wouldn't.
You would do it?
Okay.
You're that type, huh?
If I could control, I would want to do 15 feet to see if I liked it, and then I think 50 is the most you can do.
Yeah.
But this one I'm not so sure about.
The Manta 5. Dick DeBartolo. You can find out all about it on his website, gizwiz.biz, GIZWIZ.biz. While you're there, click the link that says play the What the Heck Is It contest. That is a chance to win an autographed copy of Mad Magazine for identifying. I feel like I know what it is, but at the same time I don't.
You know what? In a way, I think you should.
I should, but I don't. I feel like it just looks familiar. Anyway, if you feel the same way, you could just submit your best guess. There are up to 18 autographed copies of Mad Magazine available. 6 for the right answer, 12 for the wrong answer. That's how Dick is. He's kind of upside down that way.
Yeah.
GizWiz.biz. And don't forget Dick's GizWiz podcast he does every week with Chad Johnson. More great gadgets like this. GizWiz.tv.
Perfect.
Well, I'm glad you've recovered from the Consumer Electronics Show.
Sir. And I
Do
will
you
be
feel like
back
now
here.
you want to go to I'm ready for the next one? I'm rested.
You know what? I am.
Yeah.
You see, last week you said, I'm done. I'm never going back.
No, I can't wait to go back.
Are you serious?
I guess it's like having a baby. You forget how painful it was almost instantly. And then you start over and you go, I think I'd like to have another kid.
When you're there, you think, but then when you get back, you think, look, I saw all of this stuff in 3 days.
It was fun.
Yeah.
And I had an impossible slider.
We both did.
That
was great.
There was just some lady standing there handing them out.
Yep, that's. You said you were going to buy me dinner, and by golly, you stuck to it.
Yep, all the sliders you can eat as long as it's fewer than 2. Thank you, Dick.
Okay, buddy. See you next week.
Soon. Thanks to Lady Laura. I'm going to start calling you Dr. Laura because she is fixing me up with the greatest music. Thank you, Dr. Laura. Thank you, too, to Kim Schaffer, our phone angel. She answers all the calls. Most importantly, thanks to you for listening, for calling. Couldn't do a show without you, so I appreciate your being here. I'm Leo Laporte. I'm your tech guy on the radio. Anytime you need me, you know where to find me. And don't forget the website, techguylabs.com. Everything we talked about today is up there. Links and all. It's free. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Have a great geek week. Bye-bye. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWIT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.